All right, so we have this comparator that reads in tenths of a thousandths of an inch in order to use to set our measurements, and so we can go in here and zero this thing on this rod bushing here, and we're starting to get pretty reliable repeatability. Wrist pin, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm confused the
yeah. So we're starting to get pretty reliable repeatability as far as putting it in, but when we go to set our cutter, the cutter runs at a different spot on the shoe than the wrist pin does, and you notice if I put the cutter on the very edge, and we look at the measurement that it gets, it'll read that it's a little bit high. And if we go over to the other side on the edge, it'll read a little bit high, about the same amount. But if we go right in the center, well, now it's reading the same. Before it was reading lower. So we're not sure that this is actually concentric, and if you look, I don't know how well you can see. Yeah, you can see on the video. You can see right there. There's
a booger mark.
There's a chunk. There's a chip there. There's a chip here, and we don't know because the centers are different. If this surface isn't exactly perpendicular to the center line of this, then even though it reads 0 here and reads 0 here, they may be different zeros because this is on a taper. So we also have a substantial amount of, if you get the light right, you can see this striping and this damage on these surfaces here where the wrist pin and everything else sits. And so
yeah, you can see they look like streaks across here.
Little stripes, and you can actually, if you run your fingernail across it, you can feel it. Yeah. So what we're trying to figure out is if we can get these replaced or resurfaced, and if we can get this replaced or resurfaced and find somebody that can make sure that this is perpendicular and parallel and accurate, so that as you move up and down the center line with different diameter items, that this stays true relative to 0. And that's all we know for now.
Okay. Is there anything else? Well, also this needle that has a little gimpiness, like the spring that operates it inside.
There's a tiny little bit of end play in the system. And if you can see that there's a tiny little bit of end play which affects the adjustment some, and we don't know if anybody can adjust that out or clean that up or how that goes, because
we don't know
if it's 100% accurate in the sense of being true, but if it's repeatable so that our baseline is always the same, then it works.
Right.
So we just don't trust it yet.
Okay.